Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Dominic Peterson, aka Duck Zone 503, talking all things Oregon football here. And I got a quick message for you, man. I know you guys see me rocking the turnover chain all the time to the games. I've had it in my broadcast, and everybody always asks me, man. It's one of my famous piece of gear that I always take to the game. Everybody asks me, where do you get that? Where do you get that? Because the Duck store, they got a lot of cool stuff, but they don't got stuff like my boys at Collegiate Art Design. CollegiateArtDesign.com, man. They got the turnover chains. They just hooked me up with this awesome metal decor, man. So if you want stuff like this to hang up on your wall, you want to take some turnover chains, they got a whole bunch more stuff too. They got metal decor, LED signs, refrigerator magnets, O-chains, Portland, Oregon signs. And if you're not even a fan of the Oregon Ducks and you're a visiting team, visiting my channel for the first time, seeing this ad, man, thinking that's pretty cool, well, don't worry. They got you covered. They got customizable chains for your favorite team. So go ahead and hit that up. Use discount code DuckZone503 for 10% off. Again, DuckZone503 for 10% off your order. Metal art, decor, O signs, LED signs, whatever you guys like, man. Go ahead to CollegiateArtDesign.com. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Dominic Peterson, aka Duck Zone 503, talking all things Oregon football. If you're not following, if you're not subscribed already, go and smash those buttons below to join the Duck Zone family. We're always talking Oregon football. Instagram and Twitter is right there. You guys know what to do. Go hit the follow button. We had our best growth month ever last month on Instagram, so really appreciate you guys for hitting the follow button on those socials. I really put out a lot of updates every day for Oregon football on those socials, so really appreciate you guys locking in on those. Also, last but not least, ScoopDuck.com. I'm a writer covering all things recruiting at ScoopDuck.com of On3 Sports. Go ahead and subscribe to them. Got some of the best coverage on Oregon football. A whole team of guys over there. Great guys. All right, preview and prediction time. Let's get into it. Number 12, Oregon, coming into the desert at Arizona. 6 p.m. kickoff. Oregon's a 13-point favorite. Whoo! Hold your breath, guys, because this game has not happened in the desert a lot in the last decade, and when it has happened, it has not been kind to the Ducks, let me tell you. ESPN gives Oregon a 78.2% chance to win. Arizona's last game, they played the Colorado Buffaloes. Now, I don't know how good Colorado is this year, probably one of the worst FBS teams in Division I football this year, and I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. I legitly, just off tape, see what I've seen. I mean, these guys got blown out by Air Force, so when your academy team is whooping you, I mean, I don't know what you could take from a 43-20 victory over Colorado, but Arizona has put some an impressive film on the tape there, so let's not take away from Arizona. Oregon's last game, okay, big game against Stanford. Could have been a trap game, but, man, coming into Autzen, it's a tough place to play. Stanford kind of on the downward trend here with their program. Not sure if David Shaw's going to see the hot seat soon or not. We'll see. He's one of the highest paid coaches in the Pac-12, but, Ducks get it done. 45-27 in their last game. All time here, Oregon leads the series 28-17. There's been 0 ties in the series. So, Oregon leading the series there. Since the turn of the century, in the year 2000, Oregon is 6-3 playing in Arizona. Now, Oregon's last win in Arizona, this might shock some people, is in 2011. Oregon hasn't won in Arizona in 2011. Their last win was in 2011, 56-31. They beat the Wildcats there. And the reason why is because there's been very little trips to the desert since 2010. I mean, there's only been 3. There was that 2011 victory. And the last 2 trips have not been kind to the Ducks at all. 2013, Oregon had one of the best teams in program history at that point. Lost 42-16. And then in 2018, the Oregon's ranked number 19 in the country at this point, and they lose 44-15. So, man, some bad losses in the last 2 matchups. The last matchup these two did play, though, was last year. Oregon won 41-19. Now, the final score is pretty big there, but that game was kind of close heading into the third and fourth quarter. I was at that game. It was pretty risky. Arizona did not have the team they have now, and we'll get into that. But, yeah, they were pretty bad last year. But don't let that fool you, man. They really rejuvenated their roster this year. Desert scares me and a lot of other Oregon fans. As you know, this is just one of those trap games for Oregon where we're riding high. Nice win last week against Stanford, and This is the perfect opportunity. I mean, we're ranked number 11 starting out, get blown out by Georgia, drop out of the top 25, right? No respect for Oregon. And then slowly but surely we start blowing out teams, beat a number 12 BYU team, win on the road in Pullman. I mean, we're starting to get respect now. We're right back at number 12. And it's nice to see Oregon and Utah, the one-loss teams that had to go out to SEC country in week 1, kind of getting respect. And they're kind of right there. The teams ahead of Oregon, they all got to play each other sometime soon. So Oregon does have a path to the playoff. Now, I'm not saying that it's realistic, but I see a path with all the teams that have to play each other. Now, that loss, the way they lost in week 1 might really hold them back, but we'll see. So, Arizona, like I said, I know they were pretty bad last year, but let me tell you, with the recruiting and the transfer portal age, they went ahead and reloaded their roster. They went ahead and landed Teratero, and I'm sorry if I say this, I'm going to just say it once. Teratero McMillan, okay? I'm just going to go ahead and call him T-Mac because that's what I know him by. That's what I call him, T-Mac. Way easier for me to say. So T-Mac that was a top 10 receiver in the 2022 class. Oregon really wanted this kid, T-Mac, and he's a really good freshman. We'll get into his stats in a bit here, but he's really showing out this year. And part of the reason why he wanted to go to Arizona is because the opportunity for a lot of play time. I mean, when you have a team that's really bad and a roster that's kind of going downhill, when you land a top 10 receiver in the class, I think one of your pitches is going to be playtime for him to go there, and I think he took it, and he's making the best out of it. We'll get into his stats in a bit. So they got him on this new Arizona roster team. They went ahead and landed Jacob Coing. Okay, Jacob Coing is one of the best receivers in the nation, actually. He was a top wide receiver transfer from UTEP. I mean, we're talking 1,000+ receiving yards, and this guy goes off, man. We'll get into the stats in a bit here. Oregon actually went after both these guys, like I said, T-Mac in the recruiting class, and then they actually wanted Jacob Coing as well. They were in talks with him to come to Oregon, but Arizona went ahead and beat Oregon out on those recruiting battles, and I think playtime had a big thing to do with that. Also, Oregon had new coaches. You didn't know what kind of style offense you were getting. Now you do. All right, don't forget, they also landed quarterback Jayden de Laura from Washington State, okay? So Washington State, Jayden de Laura's Washington State. I know he didn't get a lot of wins there at Washington State, but, man, his play, let me tell you, when you watch his film, this guy is good. This guy is lasers. When he throws it, just throws absolute dimes, lasers, and this guy can get out of the pocket and use his feet with his mobility as well. Last year, Arizona, just to put it in perspective here, Arizona had 0 4-stars on their roster. This year, they have 11, okay? So they're building their roster fast, and it's starting to show out, okay? Now, it's a very young team, a lot of freshman and sophomore-led team here, so I do think that might play a factor into this game. All right, let's preview Arizona. The Arizona Wildcats come in at 3-2, 1-1 in conference play. They opened their season against San Diego State, and they got a win there, 38-20. Then they go against Mississippi State. Not as impressive showing there, 39-17. Mississippi State is a pretty good team out of the SEC, and they didn't fare well in that one. Then they come home, I almost said Notre Dame. North Dakota State. They barely squeaked by 31-28. North Dakota State's like the Alabama of the FCS level of football. I mean, those guys win national championships at the FCS level a lot, so that is pretty quality competition. I know North Dakota State doesn't, for some people, don't ring the bell, but those guys are real. Then Cal, this one really surprised me. Okay, Cal really ran just right all over them, 49-31. Cal putting up 49 points on you is not a good sign for your defense there. Bad loss for Arizona there. Then at home against Colorado, like I said, Colorado is probably one of the worst teams in college football in a while that we've seen. And I don't say that to disrespect them. And I know those guys are fighting hard up there in the Rockies. But, I mean, man, it's not looking good. They fired their head coach already after the 0-5 start they've had, and not looking good. They beat them 43-20. They did Arizona, beat the Colorado Buffaloes. All right, on offense, the Arizona Wildcats are led by, like I said, quarterback Jayden de Laura. He's a sophomore transfer from Washington State. Last year, he threw for about 2,798 yards, threw 23 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. This season, he's on good track to probably beat those numbers. 1,633 yards thrown, 14 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. So you can tell these guys are definitely slinging it with Delora back there. Offensively, the Wildcats really like to stretch the field with the heavy pass attack, a lot of downfield shots, and they really go for the explosive play for real. According to TeamRankings.com, they pass about 61% of the time and only run 38% of the time. So this pass percentage, 61%, is 8th in all of college football. 367 pass yards a game is 3rd best in all of college football. So we're talking about a lethal passing attack that Oregon has not seen. And, I mean, man, you pair that with the lethal wide receiver core that they got. These guys have one of the best wide receiver cores in the nation. And I know it's weird to say, but they really do. I mean, Arizona, the thing that's holding Arizona back is their defense, okay? Their offense can really put up points, and they're really explosive, and they've shown that. Like I said, one of the best receivers in the nation, Jacob Coing, transferred from UTEP in 2021. Coing had 69 catches, 1,300 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Transferred to Arizona, and now he has 40 catches, 566 yards, and 7 touchdowns already. He leads the Pac-12 in each of those categories, by the way. Let's compare Coing to the top receiver for Oregon, Troy Franklin, right? Troy Franklin has 24 catches, 391 yards, and 3 touchdowns, okay? That's just a comparison to 40 catches, 566 yards, and 7 touchdowns from Coing. I mean, let's just compare that. I'm not trying to take anything away from Troy Franklin. But all I'm saying is Jacob Coing. I'm just trying to show you the kind of level that these guys have over there, okay? And I'm not done yet. That's not their only weapons outside, okay? Their second statistical leading wide receiver is Dorian Singer, sophomore Dorian Singer here. He has 32 catches, 450 yards, and 1 touchdown. If he was on the Oregon roster with those kind of stats he's bringing in, he would be the leading receiver at Oregon. And that's their second statistical leading receiver, okay? And let's not forget, last but not least, T-Mac. Okay, T-Mac, the freshman, coming in. He already has 16 catches, 290 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Almost where Troy Franklin's right there, almost at those statistical categories. So, man, Oregon really wanted this kid. Like I said, he felt like he could get more play time over there. He was the Pac-12 Freshman of the Week last week. So, man, these guys have playmakers at the skill position that can make big plays. Quarterback who can escape the pocket, really make plays, really throws that thing on a laser, on a dime. And I really do think this could be one of the toughest, if not the toughest offense that Oregon will face all year. These guys, they're kind of a little less. I like to say they're the exact replica of USC, but the lesser version, the great value of USC, so to speak. No disrespect to Arizona, but you see what USC got, right? Average defense, not so great. Average line, really great wide receivers, really great quarterback. That's what you're kind of getting with Arizona. So this is going to be a challenge here for Oregon, and I think Arizona does things on offense that Oregon, man, their defense kind of struggles with a little bit. I think they could take advantage, and they have good matchups against Oregon. Really good matchups against Oregon on offense that could hurt Oregon. I mean, their second corner spot for Oregon is kind of a question. So we'll see. We'll see how we fare. Now, we've talked very highly about the Arizona offense so far. It's time to get into the defense, okay? And that has been atrocious. It has been really bad. This Arizona defense is one of the worst in college football, okay? They ranked 93 in total defense in all of college football. They're allowing opponents to score about 33 points a game. And the worst thing, they have one of the worst run defenses we have seen in a while in college football. Okay, they're allowing 5.8 yards per rush. That's number 125 in all of college football. Allowing teams to almost rush for 200 yards a game on average. 200 yards a game. That's a number 107 in all of college football. Overall, they really get pushed around, and they also don't get a lot of takeaways. They're way down there in the rankings and getting takeaways as well. So this defense, I think Oregon, like I said about Arizona's offense, what they can expose with Oregon's defense, I think Oregon's offense can really expose some things on Arizona's defense. The way Oregon runs the ball is one of the best in the country so far. So And the way they got plethora of backs, Oregon's offensive line is the strength of their team. So I think both teams offensively really have the edge over the defenses. I really do in this game. And in my mind, that makes for a shootout. And we'll get into it. We'll get into the prediction here in a second. First, I'm going to give you my 3 keys to the game. I always like to give my 3 keys before the game. And then after the game, when we do our recap and analysis of the game, I review the keys of the game and see how we did. So, my 3 keys to the game for Arizona. Number 1, rush for over 300 yards, okay? Arizona has showed that they cannot stop the run at all, okay? It has been atrocious for Arizona's defense. Oregon's strength this year has been the offensive line, and they have a plethora of running backs, and I really expect Oregon really just lean on that run game all game, kind of like they did in the BYU game where they had Bo Nix only throwing 15, 18, 20 passes maybe all game because the run game just took over. And I really do expect Oregon to really just, I think they'll get 7, 8, 9 yards of carry this game, maybe even more. Arizona's front 7 is going to get pushed around. I could almost predict that right now. All right, number 2, keep DeLora under 350 yards of passing. So the Oregon pass defense look kind of suspect so far, okay? I mean, they're improving. Last game, they looked really good. Christian Gonzalez was covering passes everywhere. But still, that number 2 corner spot is still kind of a question mark for Oregon. Who's that number 2 guy? Okay, they got Christian Gonzalez, one of the best corners in the conference. Okay, that guy's locked down. He might be a first round in the NFL. I mean, a lot of guys are talking Gonzalez will be a first rounder. But that number 2 corner spot for Oregon, a lot of passes have been caught on the other side of the field where Gonzalez is not at. And Dante Manning, okay, Triquez Bridges, and the freshman Jaleel Florence has gotten in there as well, I think due to their struggles a little bit, those 2 guys. And, at times, I'm not saying they played completely awful, but at times they've been caught on. So I want to see those guys really play. They got to have a good game. They got to, because the Arizona Wildcats have a plethora of receivers that can make plays and a quarterback that can get it to them on a dime. Okay? It's very, very important that we keep DeLora under 350 yards of passing. Okay? This guy has lit it up already this year, and if they can do that while running the ball the way I expect them to, I don't think this game will be close, to be honest. All right, number 3, score touchdowns in the red zone. Okay, I didn't just say score in the red zone. I said score touchdowns. Okay, it's very important. Okay, the last time the Ducks went on the road, we seen the struggles in the red zone, and it kept that team, Washington State, in the game and had them in the lead for most of the game, actually. We had to make a last-minute comeback in that game. The way Arizona's offense operates and the way they can put up points, I don't think you can do field goals and make a comeback effort. I don't think that's going to work here. I think you're going to have, when you get in the red zone, you're going to have to punch it in. Lean on that run game, push those guys around, and punch it in. Okay, don't mess around playing this East and West game. Run right at them. These guys cannot guard you up front. That's got to be the mindset coming in for Oregon. Because we can't have these messing around in the red zone and getting field goals with that Arizona offense, man. They're really lethal. So those are my 3 keys to the game right there. Number 1, rush for over 300 plus yards. Number 2, keep DeLora under 350 yards of passing. And number 3, score touchdowns in the red zone. All right, prediction time for you guys. Let's get into it. Here we go. So this feels like another trap game. I'm going to be honest. It really does. It feels like a trap game. Arizona has one of the more potent offenses that Oregon will see this year. I mean, these guys can really make big plays. The number 2 corner spot, I wish we had that thing like where I had confidence in that number 2 corner, and I still don't. I got to see it first before I believe it, right? Gonzo's been a stud, but man, the others have been beat a few times. Like I said, Triquez Bridges, Dante Manning, Jaleel Florence, one of those guys have got to play a good game this year. This game. This game has got to be the game where you have your best game, because, man, other than this, you're not really going to face this lethal of a passing attack, at least. Okay, so we got Jacob Cohen, who will be mostly covered by Christian Gonzalez, I think. Okay, then you're going to have T-Mac, McMillan, right? And then you're going to have Singer. Those are 3 guys, okay? I'm saying quarterback number 2, there's going to have to be safeties and linebackers covering as well. But it's very, very important, man, that you cover Cohen. Don't let him explode as well. And I really do feel like your X factor here if you're Arizona is McMillan and Singer, for those guys to come off. Because I do feel like Christian Gonzalez will handle Cohen. I feel like he can hold his own against Cohen. But who's got McMillan? Who's got Singer? Okay, I think those are X factors. If you can handle those guys, keep them under wraps a little bit, and Gonzo do his thing, then I think we're good, okay? So I think, with that being said, I'm going to give my final prediction. This game scares the hell out of me. I got Oregon 45, Arizona 41. Okay, I got a close victory for Oregon here. I know the score might shock some fans, but Arizona always gives us a game in the desert, man. I mean, this game, and I just have that feeling where Arizona just really matches up well with the Ducks here, okay? That's why I have this game so high scoring. I think both offenses have the advantage on each other's defenses with what they do, okay? Arizona's passing attack. Oregon has kind of struggled defending the pass this year. They've even talked about it as a team in interviews. They know it. So this is a great game to see how they will improve against that. Arizona, they've shown that they absolutely cannot defend the run, and Oregon has one of the best run offenses in the country. So we're going to really see who will have the edge. I do think this will be a shootout game. I mean, Arizona is going to be electric for this game. They're going to be up. I mean, Dan Lanning, he said in an interview, this is going to be the best wide receiver core that they have faced all season. He said that from the horse's mouth. And I do think that this Arizona wide receiver core will expose some things in the secondary that Oregon has not seen yet, okay? I think Oregon has kind of gotten by playing teams that kind of like to run the ball a little bit. I mean, Washington State, they kind of got exposed a little bit. But overall, this will be probably the best passing attack they're going to go against. The depth of the secondary will be tested. I feel like this is going to be a close back-and-forth game. Both teams have high-octane offenses. But overall, I think that there will be a late turnover, maybe a late field goal for Oregon. The youth of the Arizona team just gives me that feeling that they'll maybe have a fumble or an interception or something. DeLauro will throw one. I just have that feeling that Oregon will get a clutch play to win another close one on the road and escape 45-41, kind of like that Washington State game. So, man, that's my prediction. That's my preview for you guys right there. Hope you guys got a good feel for the game. I'll be watching, man. This one gives me goosebumps, man. We're getting into the October-November games where it's getting juicy, and it's going to be a night game in Arizona. You already know how Arizona parties out there. It's going to be a good one. All right, guys, if you guys like content like this, go ahead and subscribe for me. Hit the like button. Share the video with your friends if you guys want to share a good preview video for them. You know, get them accustomed to who we're going to go against. And, yeah, man, let's go, man. Go Ducks as always. I'll see you guys in the next one.